Yeah. Hi, Ushma. We are just beginning to introduce metaphor therapy. Okay, so Carl Jung said there's a letter which is written by Carl Jung to by Freud to Carl Jung, in which Freud has clearly said that I hope that the new line of work does not completely turn around or rewrite or overwrite my work. Because when Carl Jung came on the scene, Freud's theories were already being questioned. So that's the time new generation of work was happening. And that is the time Carl Jung's introduced metaphor. So he's got a book called The Man and His Symbols, which describes the power of metaphors. And in metaphor therapy, all that we are going to learn constantly is how our subconscious mind has stored information in the form of images. And how are we going to work with these images and bring about a change? So, in the field of psychology right now, if you look at it broadly, there are healers, there are therapists, there are coaches, right? It's broadly divided into that bracket. There are healers, there are therapists, and there are coaches. Now, the healers generally will go with energy healing modality, like how Pradnya said, she's done Akashic, she's done Theta, she's done Reiki, she's done Pranic. And then there are the psychologists, psychotherapists who will go more with cognitive sciences like the REBT, the CBT, the client-centered therapy, and transaction analysis. However, what I felt while because I'm a psychotherapist, I'm qualified in CBT, REBT, and I found there was a missing link. In a session, you will require both. You're going to require an amazing amount of sharpness at diagnostics, and then the processing, and then the closure. So there are 3 steps that your 1 hour session with your client is going to have. You're going to require a very sharp diagnostic skill, then the processing skill, and then the closing skill. So most of the healing, the energy work will come at the closing skill. Like once you've made a cognitive shift in the client awareness, then you can close your session with a nice Reiki or a nice pranic or any kind of a meditation or any kind of an energy work. So I figured out that my friends who were doing only energy work, they were good, they were excellent, but the results would be there. But after some time, because the cognitive shift had not happened, the client would resurface with some of the residual issues. On the other hand, we saw people who were doing only cognitive work. The client went back home with an insight, but the restlessness that should settle down in the session would take some time to settle down. So I thought marrying the two was a beautiful idea. So you marry a cognitive skill along with the healing skill, and then that's complete work. And that's what metaphor therapy actually allows you to do. So I'll give you all a quick breakdown of all the existing modalities and how the things are working. Like if you look at the scenarios today you have healers who are completely separate and are doing very individual line of work, which is beautiful and effective. Then you have coaches who are mainly catering to the futuristic approach. The coaches do not regress, they do not allow any space for any childhood traumas or anything, but they're very futuristic in their work. So corporates are preferring more coaches because it's productive and result oriented. That's what the corporates prefer. Now an individual client, when they come to you, they want to talk about what has just opened up for them, and that space has to be allowed. And that's why I think need for holistic counselors and holistic coaches is at an all-time rise right now, where we are using more than one set of skills. We are marrying everything in a very balanced, proportionate manner. And that's what I like about metaphor therapy. It allows you to do that. So if any of you have ever been analyzed a drawing, can you all share your experiences with me on drawing analysis? No. Okay, so we have analyzed drawings and I do that in every session. What it does for me, that's what we called as a visual metaphor. What that does for me is it gives me an insight into what are my goals, what are my areas that I have to address. Apart from that, it's a rapport building tool. The client is talking to you in the first 5 minutes of the very pertinent related issues. that they are having. And now, because we are at the revolutionary phase of coaching, healing, counseling, where people are coming forth, people are seeking appointments, we no longer have to that desperately hunt for business, because there is an awareness, there is openness, particularly in large cosmopolitan cities. People are coming forward. Now is the time for us to build our skills and sharpen our tools and make that 1 hour session most impactful and most productive. That's where we bring in metaphor therapy. So I will show you all what are we going to be covering and how is. Give me a moment. I'll just share a small presentation. I won't take very long, and it's not death by PPT. I'll be very brief about what I have to say. I know it's a Sunday evening and I'm not going to take up too much of your time. Okay, so now if you look at the mental health field, broad categories. You have the organized sector, where you have the psychiatrists, counseling psychologists, clinical psychologists, and psychotherapists. Then you have the unorganized sector, where you have the healer, crystal, angel, theta, reiki, pranic, and chakras. Then you have the therapist category, which is coming up now more as an individual category. You have the hypnotherapist, past life regression therapist, family constellation therapist, cognitive behavior, client-centered, and psychoanalyst. Then you have the coaches. Now, coaches is the latest on the block. Like from the last 15 years, this field has also picked up a lot. So life coach, corporate coach, relationship coach, personal excellence coach, holistic coach, spiritual coach, NLP coach. These are all your coaching. Now, depending on where you are in any of these 4 categories, you're going to have to learn the skills from the other 3. Because marrying the knowledge and multiplying your skills and resources is very, very important. And this is where the counseling company comes in. We focus on skill building. Like you're already in the space and then you want to build your skill. So when you're going to be looking at metaphor therapy, it is a subconscious modality and a conscious cognitive shift making modality. Whereas I've already introduced what it is. The subconscious mind stores information in forms of images, and these images continuously give out charge that impacts our decision. So there are times, you are restless, but you don't know why you're restless. So obviously there's something that's stirred in your subconscious. So a drawing will immediately let you know what really has stirred. Or if I take you through a metaphorical visualization, I'll be able to help you address what is it that has stirred up, what image in you has actually stirred up. These images are known as metaphors. Metaphor therapy deals to bring these suppressed images to surface, substitute them to change the resultant behavior. And I tell you, once you have changed the metaphor, the result will change. Like, for example, if I have a client who comes and tells me that the room around me is spinning and I feel like a rock. Now, in a conversational style, the rock becomes the metaphor. I will work with the rock in 4-step therapeutic process and make that rock as a change-making phenomena. So in this particular case, the client said that the rock is now breaking, it's opening, and there is a golden figure emerging out of the rock and is going onto the beach and is listening to the waves of the sound of the ocean and is feeling so relieved and so relaxed. And I said, okay, when was the rock formed? And he gave me the exact time that, in his childhood, when there were things that were being said and he didn't want to listen to them. He said he had solidified himself as a rock with a resolution of not paying any attention. So there was so much processing going on in his subconscious at that time. So when he says this, and I told him to download a simple meditation of flowing water and listen to it, the next time his vertigo was much better. Though this is not a prescription tool for vertigo. But if at all there is a psychological component to a problem, we can address that. So there are lots of times we've been able to create these massive shifts by the use of metaphor therapy. So what you will learn in the workshop that's going to come, you will learn drawing analysis, color psychology, projective healing techniques, verbal metaphor, imaginary metaphor, letting go of the past, trauma release, acceptance and commitment therapy. So acceptance and commitment therapy is the latest on the block of healing after positive psychology. So now the school of psychology is shifting its focus from a very cliche approach to more and more different approaches. And the two new approaches that have come up is positive psychology and acceptance and commitment therapy. So you're going to be learning that. Picture strip projections is how are you going to understand the subconscious or the process, whatever's going, the client is going through a very small set of 5 pictures, and you're going to interpret them, analyze them, and then get into projective techniques to make the changes. You will learn the blob tree, you will learn the 6 steps of ACT and career choices using metaphors. So this is the course content that you're going to learn. The mode, okay, Saria is here. The mode of learning is completely interactive. We are going to be having a session in which I'm going to be training you live. There are no pre-recorded sessions. There's no course material that you have to follow at your pace, because I will be there from 12 to 5. You will be there from 12 to 5 on Saturdays, Sundays for 2 weekends. And we are going to go and we'll be having break and practice breaks. So it is a committed job. It is a commitment driven procedure. It is instructor led. There is no pre-recorded sessions. And of course, the whole recording of the course will be given to you for the review. That when you join, all the complete recording will be provided to you. What support will I get after the workshop? A WhatsApp group support for practicing 1 month and continued support. You will have practice groups where you will have senior therapists who will be there. You will have the guidance to take your counseling and coaching career forward. How will this workshop help me in my practice? It will help you to sharpen your diagnostic, developmental, and closure techniques. It will help you to get hands-on practice of each process and ability to make your sessions more impactful. It will give you different therapy techniques for different client concerns. I will be telling you all that this particular technique can be used for A, B, C, D, E, F, this kind of a concern. Your client is coming in with this, then you need to use this, because I'm going to be teaching you all 16 different things. So I'll be telling you all what you are going to use for what. You're going to be using, getting motivation to establish yourself as a coach, counselor, or therapist in a better, effective way. You're going to be enabling understandings of other modalities, because we will be comparing and talking and telling you how other modalities are similar or offshoot of metaphors. And then you will be able to do your scripting of your own therapy scripts. So now we'll come to the costing and duration, and I'm not going to say that, okay, it is this, it was this much, it is this much. I'll come straight to the fact. Whenever you're doing a life coaching from ICF certification, 3,50,000 is the price. NLP coaching generally in India is 20 to 80,000. And let me also tell you, metaphor therapy is the basis for NLP. If you know your metaphors well, you will be excellent at doing your NLP. Hypnotherapy, 5 levels, because I have been teaching it personally, so I know it's 1,20,000. Cognitive behavior therapy, all levels, if you go to complete from the Beck or from a known institute, at least it's a minimum of 75,000. Metaphor therapy, when we started, when we were teaching in hotels, pre-COVID times, it was 45,000 for basic and advanced. And you learn basic and advanced counseling is 35,000. Now we have this course happening, which is on 13th or 14th of July. And advanced course is on 20th, 21st July. The platform is Zoom. The time is 12 to 5 with 3 breaks. We'll have follow-up classes for every week for 2.5 hours. That is, after we meet for 2 weekends, we will have follow-up classes. Offline cost was 45,000. Online cost we brought it down to 35,000. Now for this discounted batch from March onwards, we have made it 30,000. Early bird price is 28,000 for basic and advanced levels. So I'm not taking you all through a very typical marketing jargon, because I'm not a marketing person. So I will tell you all this is what the course is and this is what the costing is. And it's payable in installments. You all can pay that in installments. And right now for registration, you all have to only pay 2,000. And now what we'll do is we'll take up questions. If there are any questions pertaining to any other field of psychotherapy, you can probably take a screenshot of this because you all will get the dates. And I'll also put it up in the group. Right, friends, I'll stop my presentation here and let's get open to some discussions. Any questions? Or anything else, like I teach NLP, I teach hypnotherapy, I teach family constellations, I teach child psychology and play therapy. So any which way, let's take this moment to talk about anything in the field that I can be of help about. Anybody who has a question, please unmute yourself and ask. Ushma, are you talking to us? You're muted.
Yeah, ma'am,
Yeah.
can I ask?
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to know a little more about family constellation.
Okay. So family constellation basically is a modality. I'll stop the recording first so that it doesn't get long.